What's good, y'all, man? We're back with another video breaking down the One Piece arcs, arc by arc. And so with this one, we got a super short one. It's the Roguetown arc. It's going to be going from chapter 96 to the start of 101. And there's a lot in these chapters, but there's not a lot. This is kind of more like a world building arc. You know, you kind of get information on other things. You learn about other entities in the world and what's going on and whatnot. So basically, in this short little arc, we get that obviously after they left Arlong Park, they end up going to Roguetown. I don't know why I keep thinking Logtown. I don't know where I get that from. But Roguetown, and this is the city where Goldie Roger, the former pirate king, this is where he had his execution at. And it was also where he was born at as well. So they call it the beginning and the end. The island of the beginning and the end. So Luffy obviously wants to go there because, you know, it's iconic for the Pirate King. He wants to be Pirate King as well. And it also is like a tourist spot. And it's one of the first stops, like one of the main stops before you get to the Grand Line. So we get there, and this is when we find out that Luffy now has a bounty. So we went over bounties with Buggy, Don Krieg, Arlong, the bandits from chapter 1 with the 8,000 berry, I think, or yeah, it was like 8,000 or 80,000. Yeah, it was super pathetic. But in this chapter, we also get to see a combination of Buggy, Don Krieg, and Arlong. So we had Buggy was a 10K, Don Krieg was 17, and Arlong was 20. And so they're at the headquarters for the Marines, and they're talking about and discussing it. And all three of these people were wiped out by this one guy. And boom, Straw Hat Luffy, he's got a 30 million berry bounty. And it's kind of funny because in the picture, you kind of see Usopp a little bit in the picture. So Usopp takes this as, oh, I'm the one in man too, you know. So a little comedy, a little humor there. You know, Luffy's loving it. Nami's like, you guys know this is like not a good look, you know. But obviously that's Luffy's goal. Is obviously Pirate King. You're gonna have high bounty and whatnot. So the other thing that we get from this arc is we get to see that Zoro is able to actually find 2 replacement weapons that he broke against Mihawk. And what he ends up doing, he walks into just a random sword shop, and this owner was trying to scam him because he saw that Zoro was broke. He only had 100,000 berries that he borrowed from Nami, so he had to pay that back regardless. But he ended up picking one of the $50,000 blades that turned out to be cursed, and the owner wasn't going to give it to him because, you know, I can't do that. You know, it's bad karma. So to test his luck, he said, we'll test my luck against the curse of the sword. And Zoro throws the sword up and sticks his arm out, and the sword has a cool little spread where it misses his arm and falls down. He's like, I'll take it. And so the owner, seeing this, was like, hold on, I'll give you my pride and joy because you're a real swordsman, you know, you real love for the sword and whatnot. So he ends up giving him away. So boom, Zoro has all 3 swords. Now he feels complete. And while we're in the sword shop, we meet this female Tashigi, and she ends up being she's a part of the Marines that's stationed there as well. But we don't know that right the moment when Zoro was talking to her. We find that out in a little bit. But she basically gives us lore background on swords. So the one sword that Zoro did have that didn't break against Mihawk would end up being like a 21 part of the 21 supreme grade swords. And then there's like a whole sword catalog explaining like different blades, and we don't get the breakdown of it, but we get to find out, you know, there's 12, there's 21, I think there's 42 different levels of like categories of how good the important and special the swords are and whatnot. So we get that background information. And as Luffy is going around the town, he immediately wanted to go to the, you know, execution ground and see it. And obviously they still have the scaffold up for where it happened at. So Luffy's like, shoot, he gotta get up there. So he gets up there and he's just like sitting on top of the world. And then the police officer is like, hey, you gotta get down. And right as the police officer's talking to him, he got hit by this female. And this female ended up being Alvida from chapter 2. And Alvida, instead of being a fat, ugly, old-looking hag, she's now skinny and looks very good. So what we find out is that she ate the slip fruit, so which also turned her skinny and whatnot. But she actually makes the remark, she was like, it slightly increased my beauty. And Luffy's just like, I don't think it's that, you know, or because she also says, and I lost my freckles, and Luffy's like, I don't think that's the only thing it did, but turns out she's teamed up with Buggy. Buggy's finally showed back up, and he's gonna execute Luffy, and so they end up pinning Luffy down on the scaffold, and they're about to behead him. And Zoro and Sanji see this, and they're trying to get through there, and it's all chaotic. And there's a storm brewing all during this time. And the Marines that are there, they have the place surrounded, so they're going to wait until the pirates start killing themselves off, and then they're going to swoop in. So what happens is, right before Buggy's about to chop off Luffy's head, lightning strikes the scaffold. So, and it's funny because, like, the moment this happens and Luffy gets up, he's like, well, I guess I'm alive. You know, because he smiled he was like telling Zoro and Sanji, you know, like, sorry guys, I'm dead. And smiled as he was dying, you know. And it was kind of a callback to how Roger died, smiling and whatnot. But as he picks up his hat and like getting ready to leave, Zoro and Sanji were talking to each other. He was like, hey, do you believe in a higher power? And he's like, man, he said, we ain't got time to talk about that. So so they just go on and run and whatnot. And then that's where, while they're trying to escape, they run into Smoker, which is the captain of the island. And he ends up being a devil fruit user as well. Smoke fruit. We don't get to know too much about it. I'm just kind of giving a little bit more information that I already know about it. So, and just obviously what his name suggests, his body can turn into smoke. So he quickly pins down Luffy and looks like it's all over. But next thing you know, this mysterious figure stops Smoker and is like, nah, I can't let you stop this guy's journey. And Smoker's just like, well, why would you help this guy? And, you know, blah, blah, blah. The guy doesn't give real motive and whatnot. And the storm just keeps going. But eventually Luffy and Zoro and all them were able to get out of there and get on the ship and get rolling. And it was kind of a cool scene at the very end as they're like through a storm, you know, when the weather's crazy. They put up a barrel and they like, each of them put their foot up there and with the drink, and they're about to do a toast, you know, and they say what their dreams are and their goals are as they head into the Grand Line. Obviously, Luffy is the king of the pirates. Zoro is the world's strongest swordsman. Sanji wants to find the All Blue. Nami wants to draw a chart of the entire sea, and Usopp wants to be the greatest or a great warrior of the sea. Kind of don't know how he's going to achieve that one, but regardless, it's a super short arc, and my explanation isn't going to do it justice for like some of the stuff you pick up on. You know, you get to see a little bit of interaction between how the world's taking Luffy's bounty, because we get to see Shanks reacts to it, that because Mihawk showed up to Shanks and was like, hey, this guy, I remember this reminds me of the story that you told me about this kid in an island. Everybody's happy and whatnot. So please give this a read or a watch. You know, super short, so it's not too time investing. So if you guys like the video, please subscribe button, like, comment, and I'll catch y'all later on the next arc.